Hey ho! Welcome to Tales with TR. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr., back at it, back in Sud Vegas, baby. Sudbury, Ontario, to shoot season 5 of Shoresy's Adventures. It's a new name of it, too, Shoresy's Adventures. It's going to be a bunch of different iterations, and we're doing a spin off. Hitchin' with Hitch. It's going to be a sewing show about creating various pieces of clothing, undergarments, stitching with Hitch. I'm going to go with my target audience. It's going to be nursing homes because I think I can do it. No one's talking about that demographic. Stitching with Hitch, like it or leave it, it's coming as soon as possible. Now, what I do want to talk about, I was just in Bonnyville, Alberta, to see the great people in Bonnyville, good Albertans who are raising money for the Bonnyville Pontiacs hockey squad, junior hockey team. And while I was there, Chad Cabana, and Greg Schmidt, good to see you guys. It was awesome to see everybody there. I ran. There's always connections in Canada, right? There's all these different connections. Bonnyville, I mean, I've known a lot of people to play hockey there over the years back in the day. Well, Chad Cabana's from there, okay? And those Western Leaguers know, obviously, Greg Schmidt's not from there, but he drove down to see me from North Battleford, not that far. Lives in Lordminster now, not that far. So he drove in. And it was basically, I spoke for maybe an hour and change, kind of a live Q&A, but you do these things, you tend to, I had an idea what people wanted to hear. So, but if not at the end, the live Q&A was on stage. And then, at the end, we fielded some questions from the audience. And it was awesome. And there's you learn that there's links all over Canada. I mean, Canada, the U.S., internationally. I don't know why I limited it to Canada, but we were in small town Canada. And, a lot of people, hey, do you know so-and-so? And I'm your cousin. Or, like, it's just, first of all, a lot of Newfoundlanders move out to Alberta. Second of all, the hockey world in general. I came out to play in the Western League. And, there's just a lot of people with stories. And when you get older and you gain experience, I guess, a lot of those stories are interwoven, and someone from Bonnyville met someone from Saskatchewan who saw me speak last year, who parents are from Conception Bay South and plays against your daughter or whatever, I mean, there's millions and millions of people in North America alone. Canada, I think there's 40 or 50 million, but it still seems like a small town, even when you travel like 3,000 miles, man. So thanks to everybody. Now, as far as Chad Cabana goes, so back in the day, he was my captain in Tri-Cities. And when I was 15-year-old call up. Cabby's, I guess, 3 years older than me. Yeah, so he was 18, and then when I was 16, he was hitting his stride. And when I was 17, then in my draft year, I tell you guys about myself and Lankow and Boucher, how we went in the first round. Well, our captain that year was Chad Cabana. Cabby was a 20-year-old, so he had that age, that experience. Real good guy, almost too. What's the word? Fun-loving and caring. He often didn't put his foot down. He would really stick up for you. He'd fight anybody, do anything, block any shot, anything to be a teammate. One of the best teammates I've ever had in my life. And, one of my favorite captains, because he would take everybody's input. He would, he really took it seriously. So I'm not saying he wasn't a good captain. Yeah, I'm saying at times he could be a bit of a pushover, and which led to me being in his grill here and there. Okay. So, like, I remember things, if you know what a shoe check is, if you're a junior hockey player, and that's where you might distract somebody at the table or see when he's distracted and then go under the table and take like a pack of ketchup or something and put it all over his shoes. And so I did that to him at 16 a couple times, which is a no. Like you would, and back then, oh, good Lord, as a rookie, I could have gotten hazing is one thing, but just given a hard time on the ice, fights in practice back then happened, I think, more than they'd still happen. Like I said, hockey's still a physical game. That's not gone. I'm sure in any sport you get worked up, but it seemed more often than not, especially if you were a lippy young guy, you'd get at the very least hit really hard in practice. And who wants that consistently? And the odd time you'd have to fight. But I was lippy, but I think you know what? Each day I would know if I was stepping out of bounds. I would know if I was going too far one way. And I think if anything, it's one thing to be a bit of a class clown, but I could read the room. So I think I kind of took advantage sometimes of Cabby's goodwill and reasonable acceptance with these things, and he knew that I was getting a laugh out of guys. So that's why he was a great captain. Like rather than be embarrassed and make it all about him, he would often laugh it off. Now, for me, I'm just teeing off on him, and again, not to make him look stupid or ignorant or anything, but joking with them, just jokes. And everybody, that was the nature of, a lot of pranks that I did weren't like, yeah, they were more for everybody to laugh. It wasn't because I hated any. It was never actually ever. I don't ever remember pranking somebody because like they were, or it was a rookie, like, and I thought he was being out of hand and he didn't pick up the pucks or it was never that. It was just to fuck with guys. And it was usually not like anything obvious. And so I was fucking around every day. Like Cabby said, I remember going in and we would have to go to the rink early for practice a lot, and especially once we graduated from school and everything. So I remember going in and like just picking up a pen and paper and writing. I remember writing Oakley, sunglasses, saying "fuck you, you guys." We're a junior hockey team. We went on a road trip. We bought these glasses. Most of them are duds. What the hell's going on? Like Oakley's supposed to be a reputable company. Nothing like that did happen, and they sent like a crate of glasses for everybody. Remember doing the same to toothpaste, Colgate toothpaste. I think I did it to like 100 companies, and those two got back to me. I got a letter in the Hockey News one time just saying I was a Tri-City fan and Ryan and Lankow were really impressing me, like stuff like that. I was fucking around every day. But anyway, so Cabby comes in one day and he had a lot of balls, man. Cabby had a lot of balls. So he's, just to play this game, and I don't remember. I think it was his knee, but just to play this game. But we needed him. We needed him, and we needed him every game. But whatever it was, this game was like either not a milestone game, but I don't know if it was like a game that we needed to get in. They call it a 4-point game where you're playing a team that you're battling for that very playoff spot. Call that a 4-point game. Maybe it was that towards the end of the year, but whatever it was, Cabby and courageous soldier that he is, teammate that he is, played the game, and afterwards came off and had to go immediately in to see Jerry Fredrickson, who was our trainer, our medical trainer. And he was the equipment manager slash fucking medical guy, which would happen back then. I don't think he had a fucking day of fucking first aid school or a paramedic or whatever. But anyway, that was the way it was. So Cabby comes off after playing this game. We won it, or I wouldn't have been in this mood. Trust me, I never would have done this if we didn't win. So he when I remember being just such a great feeling. Way to go, Cabby, and everything. He ran in. He took his jersey off and his upper gear, and he fucking ran in the back room to get iced or fucking ultrasound or whatever they did to him. We had a nice little, still is a nice area. I was back in Tri. Most things recently, most things are the same. In our room, we had like a hot tub in the medical area and everything that goes along with that. And at the time, we had that ultrasound machine, the electrodes that they set you up to, the tensor, yeah, I mean, ropes, whatever there. I mean, it was fairly state of the art for the time. It was just that the guy giving out the advice wasn't actually a medical guy. Now, that being said, I'm sure we had team doctors and things. I don't really remember. I didn't have a major injury there. But definitely Jerry Fredrickson, our equipment guy, did a lot of the wrapping and ultrasounding and icing and whatever it might be. Everything was ice, of course. Everything. Whatever you had was put some ice on. But anyway, Cabby fucking runs in there. So if you were 3 stars, obviously had to go out onto the ice, but the first star of the game from Tri-City had to speak. The microphone had to speak to Ian Furness, I believe, or whoever was out there giving those interviews. A lot of the time it was Ian Furness, our play-by-play guy. Sometimes it wasn't. I can't remember who it was in this particular time. I came out, and the thing is, I didn't get one of the stars. Cabby was the first star. And everybody knew that he was like, playing courageously, and he had a great game. I don't remember, but he also was the first star. Like he had 2 goals or something. So I put on his jersey with the big C on it, Cabana, and I put a hat. Maybe maybe it was a hat trick he got. I don't know, because there was hats there. Maybe that was it. So I put a hat right down over my head, like if you're online, like this. You see the way I'm wearing that hat, right? The beak's right down, so you wouldn't be able to tell. And Cabby, I mean, he's probably an inch taller than me, but generally, and if I had my shoulder pads, like he's bigger than me for sure, bulkier, definitely a little bit bigger, but like we kind of have the same complexion. We definitely have the same color eyebrows, eyes, and hair and everything. So with the hat down, a lot of people, I mean, majority of people didn't know. And I didn't hear anybody at the time call me on it. And I tried to do my best, Alberta. Oh, thanks, yo. I think it's going to go well. Like Cabby has that kind of, yeah, well, Noof, what are you doing there? Kind of that drawl, like that Albertan kind of twang to it. So I was given the answers, and the point, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just went out there, and then they start asking me, like they're digging a little deep, and I'm going, well, you know what? I think I'm the best player in this division, and I just had a bad start. I think I'm going to end with 40 or 45 goals or whatever was realistic. Gabby had 20. I remember him at least 2 of those years having 20 odd. He could fucking put the puck in the net. It wasn't an easy league. Yeah, he probably had close to 30. So I might have said, I'm going to get 40 or 45 or whatever I said. Basically, point is, I was putting pressure on him. And then the next question was, something about leadership and how you're going to finish the year. And I said, well, I tell you what I'm going to do next game. I'm going to fight Wade Belak. And I'm going to just fight him first shift. He knows I'm coming, and I think I'm tougher, and I'm going to give us some momentum. Now, I didn't expect that to go anywhere. They quoted it, and they put it in the paper. And we didn't tell Cabby. Even only a few of the guys knew. This was out onto the ice. Everybody's in the room, like, not partying, but, this, whatever it was a big win. So that elation that comes at the end of a game before a big game, and, in junior, it was definitely, we'd sit around and talk. Think in beer league or older, you sit around with a beer. It wasn't that. It wasn't that in junior. There was definitely we had beers and stuff, but it was completely separate, especially Tri-City. We couldn't even get into the bar. We'd go to high school parties and stuff like that. But it was just that moment, it was a similar feeling. The tunes were going. Substitute beer for Diet Coke and fucking Gatorade, and we had like a ping pong area, pool table, and we didn't always hang out there. We'd often come in and out, but this particular night I remember like it being a big thing. Maybe the parents were down or something, but it was just a big deal. And so only a few of the guys really knew about it. I didn't think it'd have many legs. I thought it was a cute little story, but then people picked up on it. And then we're on the bus on the way over, and we told him about it. He was in his seat. I remember Gabby used to have easy cheese that came out of the fucking, like, you'd spray it out like whipped cream. It must be the most unhealthy cheese if you keep it. It's even cheese. And he used to take crackers and easy cheese, and you'd fucking hear the thing. And he's fucking flattened a couple of bottles on a fucking trip. Anyway, with the most unhealthy. But we told him that. We're like, yeah, man, you're going to have to fight Belak. So, again, he didn't really have to. But the story was picking up steam. People had heard it, and he didn't deny it. I got to be honest, man. He's like, well, maybe I should. I couldn't believe it. So, I don't know, man. Cabby didn't want to be embarrassed, although, like we said, it was my thing. It was my joke. I told everybody. I certainly didn't hide this from anyone. But then it turned into, fuck it, then I'll fight him. And then they're going around in warm-up beaking each other, and I'm kind of feeling bad. But and just to put it in perspective, you guys, like, there was a few real tough guys in our league. I've told you about Brant Myers. He was the year before that, and he had a 4-year run. Rocky Thompson was around the same time. Belak had Belak's D partner. Now think how big Wade Belak is, you NHL fans. His D partner was Chris McAllister, who was 6'7", who was like 2 or 3 inches taller than him and bigger. And then they had like fucking Rhett Warner. Right, Rhett Warner's a fucking killer. He was their like, yeah. You would even consider him like their like fighter, and he could fight. Then they had like Clark Willem up front and a few more. They had fighters, like just straight up fighters, and then those guys played. Chad Allen could go. He's their 4th. Well, I don't know what order these D are in, but their top 4 were those guys. And Chad Allen could fucking fight. I mean, he beat me one night. Anyway, sure enough, man. Bob Laux, our coach, starts Cabby. This is out there somewhere. I couldn't find it on YouTube. You guys listen to this from that team. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Cabby fucking dropped his gloves right off the hop. First shift with Belak, and they went pretty good. And then Belak popped him, man, and Cabby fell down. And Belak was still standing, and Belak didn't like do anything. He just kept standing. So Cabby was sitting like, and his helmet was out in front of him. It looked like Winnie the Pooh with a pot of honey. Like, it was so funny because the way he landed, he was just sitting and he was looking through Belak's legs over at the bench for approval. It was so funny. It was so funny. And then he did his thing, and we did get some momentum. It was really fucking hard to go in there. And there was two different leagues back then. I say to people, I'm like, man, our division was Tri-City, just so those who don't know, it's southern Washington State, right on the Oregon border. It's in a desert, you know, which doesn't mean it's always like warm, but it doesn't really snow that much. It's like red alert when it's snowing. You get a day off school just for the little flicker of snow. There's you picture the mountains in Seattle, and the precipitation, I guess, that Seattle's known for. Well, we're on the other side of those mountains, and it's different. It's desert, and all that cactuses and snakes and fucking scorpions and shit. But anyway, it's a cool spot, man, and they're really nice, warm rinks, like and so in our just in the U.S. division that we had us, Tacoma, which is a suburb of Seattle, Spokane Chiefs, and Portland Winterhawks, Seattle Thunderbirds, Tacoma Rockets, Tri-City Americans. So that was a comfortable little, and then like in our division, the northern part of our division was Victoria, and then went up to Prince George, Kamloops. Tacoma ended up going to Kelowna. So, and then Kootenay came in. So it all those rinks were like pretty new. All those places were in the States anyway, like bigger centers. I mean, Seattle, Portland, Spokane, Tacoma, like these are big spots with like big nice arenas, and you'd go over. Not that Saskatoon was not a nice arena, but that whole stretch of like we'd go over and play in the East, and Swift Current, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, Brandon, Red Deer, Lethbridge. I go on and on, but anyway, it was just like two different leagues. You're in Canada. You're dealing with the cold a lot. The rinks are generally smaller. I mean, going to Prince Albert, it's really like old school. Moose Jaw, right? Now most of these places do have different updated arenas, but it just seemed back then the cold. You can drink in Canada, so that was more part of the culture. The games in Tri-City, even in the States, they might be drinking here, and there was all people drinking over 21, and if they were, Tri-Cities was more of a family thing. I don't remember anybody. Seattle, I remember them throwing beer. Spoke, I do, but again, they would have had to be 21. It was a different, I remember my first few days in fucking Red Deer, going to the bar with the guys. It was completely unheard of. So my last like few months of junior playing in Red Deer, we went to the bar all the time. We would go to eat in the bar. That it didn't matter. And they were letting 16-year-olds in at 17. We only had a couple of those. 17, no problem. You're going to be 18 soon. 3 years earlier than in the States, so a little bit different. And it seemed to symbolize a tougher culture or something, the snow, the small rink, the beer, but it was all the same league. It seemed it seemed like another planet. I gotta say, going to Saskatoon from Tri-Cities and playing those guys. We had a tough team, mind you. We had a really tough team, but Saskatoon always had a tough team that were a big team, that were like multiple players over 6'4", 6'5", right? Always. So anyway, that was it. Cabby was fucking just a great captain, though, and an awesome guy. And I'm excited to be here. And so that's your tale with TR today. And my computer looks to be working well. I'm doing the Jason Greger show tonight. I have a great guest for you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks to Bonnieville, Alberta. Thanks to Toronto, the Conn Smythe dinner. That was a fucking laugh as well. Dunny in Doghouse. Check out his tables. They're unbelievable. If you're downtown St. John's, Newfoundland, and Labrador, and you want to check out George Street, why would you not check out Trinity Pub? Why would you not check out the Martini Bar, Rob Roy Confusion, Greensleeves, Bull, and Barrel, if you're going to go for a bite to eat, I would definitely start with Wedgwood Cafe, who also do catering. And why not check out the Loose Tie and Blue on Water? If you want to go, you want to work out, you want to change your life, you want to work out, you want strength and balance, and you want it for your body and your mind, look no further than Ryan Power Conditioning. If you want to go to Mr. Lube, there's 2 locations, St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador. One's on Cameron Road, one's on Torbay Road. Live, laugh, lube. Pitbull Pain Relief, pain sticks just don't quit. Go to pitbullpainrelief.com, see what all that fuss is about. Muggsy Jeans, I loves me Muggsy Jeans. True Hockey, take what's yours. Folks, we'll be back in just a couple of days with more Tales with TR and a fantastic guest. Enjoy yourselves out there.